So, nice storytelling is just not something that this community enjoys. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oscar. And you're probably like, why are we not in the office for this discussion? Well, I just don't feel like going out there. Today, we got to talk about the second episode. The Sky Striker Ace Rose Chronicles part of the story has aired. And now all I've read from the community is, Konami does not know how to tell a good story. Once again, you guys understand that this was a promotional anime meant to get you involved in the card game because you liked the story. Ooh, so this episode, spoiler alert, it's 3.5 minutes this time, which is whatever. This story was meant to tell Rose's perspective. It was about to be Rose's time to shine out here, where she learns that she's more than a worthless piece of robotic technology, or she's worth more than, just being this piece of Sky Striker armament control. And I actually really like the story this time. It was very short, but from where we're going in the storyline out here, at the end sequence of the episode, you're going to notice that a whole bunch of hamps are showing up. A lot of hamps, all right? If you thought one hamp was enough, there's a lot of hamps rolling up here. So this is going to be kind of where you're going to start to see the alt arts come in with the Ray and the Rose and the alt arts. And then you're going to see the Engage Zero, which is kind of them using the big armaments to go, whoop, there goes everybody. All right, but the story did two things. So far, you need to understand that, the Master Duel sequence set us up on the story. All right, that was like, they were like, hey, you guys, come play Master Duel, come get the first part of the story, and then we're going to do this whole giant spectacle of an anime, which is going to bring you to the next part. And then after that, you have to turn to the cards for the rest of the story. It's very interesting that they're using all forms of the medium here to tell the story. They want you to still be invested in the cards. They want you to still be invested in the animation, but they also still want you to come to Master Duel to get this. It's very episodic, it feels like. Konami is doing something much different than I think other competitors are really doing. Yes, I would love a full 24 episode anime over the course of months. I'm sure we all would. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never been about following that pattern. They like to break things up and they like to try things a little bit differently. So I wanted to get that out of my system here. So the story this time, like I said, was kind of Rose's coming to terms with, they actually did a pretty gosh darn good job of Rose just kind of going, well, I'm not actually worthless here, There's more to me than meets the eye, more than meets the eye. Thank you, Transformers. And honestly, like, if you've been raised your entire life as a pile of garbage and your nation was just using you to be this Sky Striker plug-in into the mecha suit, yeah, I think we'd all feel worthless too, man. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Like, nobody likes being used out here. Life moral lesson number one. If you're being milked by your friend group, or you're being, just used by those people around you, you're gonna feel like shit, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And that's kind of what Rose was realizing here. Rose had her hand tossed out to her by Ray, and this was like the first real friend that Rose had ever kind of experienced. I know, to be honest with you, in terms of the lore, I mean, Ray and Rose are technically, they're supposed to be, the last two, human beings alive out here. So let's call it what it is at this point. If you are the only two humans left, you're gonna feel kind of emotional. You always see those end of the world stories out here where you're like, oh hey, I'm the last of my kind. You better get used to the comfort of these people, because, you know, they're either going to be really shitty, or in the case of Ray and Rose here, Ray genuinely does care. Ray wants to have a friend, and Ray wants Rose to understand that, you know, I think one of my favorite quotes, I think from High School of the Dead, was when they realize that they're still human. You know, it's just that realization, like, in the middle of a shit-infested world out here, that you can still, you know, we tend to stray very, very far from human nature the more that we're put into extreme situations. But to realize that, you know, you still have your human characteristics and those things like that, that was the thing that really, you know, Ray showed to Rose. No matter how much she had been distraught and mentally destroyed by her nation, you know, she still is a human, and there still is, you know, that light at the end of the tunnel. They did a fantastic job at that, man. I love philosophy. I love the understanding of the human psyche here. So that was a pretty good thing. Now, where did all these hamps come from? A lot of hamps. So from where we are in the story, where we're going to be ending off with the hamp invasion, is the Sky Striker hamp is the little cool thing that they tribute on top of the opponent's monster deck, kind of is like a little kaiju. And like I said, you're going to see them leaping into battle in the card art from this point, and you're really going to start to see that story come to fruition. Now, should this have been fleshed out a little bit more? Yes, 100%. There should at least been a third, fourth episode of the upcoming battle, but I'm assuming for budgetary purposes, or maybe they'll come back and revisit this. That might be the case, actually. That's a big thing to think about here, because with the way that this story is leaving off, because it's Ray and Rose, at this point we might have, you know, a spin back around to, you know, the new Sky Striker stuff that they're making. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Now, this is all off the table. All right, slide it away. We got confirmation today that the branded part of this, the Fallen of Albaz lore, is going to go for 6 months. And if you're still watching this video, that's a lot. All right. I need you to be aware, though, that this lore is so insanely large at this point in time that you are gonna have to remember, everybody, that when you have an extensive lore like this building up, that you're going to see a lot of buyouts, you're going to see a lot of things on this too. It also means that they're going to be extending this shit over 2 sets. I think this is the thing that people haven't really realized yet, is when you just cleaned out, June through November. December we'll kind of get like a free month, I guess, but from where we are right now, that's 6 months of animation dedicated to this. That's nuts to me, man. It really is. And, you know, we're going to get dropped in. We're going to start things off. I'm just curious to know, because I'm assuming that every piece of the story would be dedicated to, like, you'll have one Fallen of Albaz, one Incredible Ecclesia. You'll probably have a Spriggan Shurret, for example. I assume we're going to bounce back and forth on all of the different main pieces of the story. I'm just curious to know, are we just going to run this through the first half of the arc, or what that's going to be? And also, what's our Master Duel episodic part going to be as well? I haven't thought about that fully ahead yet, because remember, they did tie in the Sky Striker stuff into Master Duel. I assume that we're going to have an entire episodic theme before June starts to plug us on in to that. I assume it's going to be a multi-event type of thing kind of going forward out here every couple of months. You know, when a new episodic is going to start out here, you know, we're going to have another plug-in into Master Duel to kind of lay some groundwork for that. So I do fully expect that to come. But overall, episode was good. Wasn't as action-y, but that's fine. You know, you got to see an opposite side of things, which was kind of what we needed to see. You know, you've got future content now laid out for you, and you got a lot of positives here. And I think that this is a start in the right direction as more and more goes. But this did feel like kind of a throwaway episode, but they did a good job at relating to the human psyche. I think that was pretty good. So please, comment down below what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.